All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the May edition of the Polkadot Community Call. So, without further ado, for today's call, we will have Ingo joining us today from KILT Protocol to talk about all the amazing stuff they're doing in their most recent Deloitte integration. We have Tanssi joining us, and Tanssi is a new project on Polkadot. I won't give away more. I'll let them talk about that. OriginTrail is also joining us today to talk about Chat DKG, a framework for efficiently searching and accessing DKG knowledge using AI tools. We also have Composable Finance joining us today to talk about parachain to parachain interoperability. We have Nova Wallet joining us today to talk about Wallet Connect v2 integration and upcoming features like multi-staking dashboards, staking upgrade, etc. We have Oak Network joining us today to talk about their Turing parachain on Kusama and all the great stuff it's doing and XCM use cases and more. We have Peaq joining us to talk about Natix, which is also bringing thousands of AI-powered sensors to the economy of things on Peaq. We have SubSocial joining us today to talk about the release of their off-chain signer. And we also have Talisman joining us to talk about Polkadot Vault, an alternative for Ledger as a hardware wallet, and for those that want to use offline devices. I just realized we have a great packed wallet call too, which is also perfect for us as well. Before we get into things, I also wanted to give just a little shout out to Polkadot Decoded. Polkadot Decoded is coming up here at the end of June 28th, 29th in Copenhagen, Denmark. One of the things I wanted to clear up, because there seems to be a misunderstanding, you will notice that there is hybrid tickets, excuse me, being sold for 99 euros on the website. Those 99 euros is not actually a ticket price. It is just to ensure that people that take tickets will actually show up. So when you show up to the event, you actually get refunded for that 99 euros. So I just wanted to explain that is fully refunded. The Decoded conference is essentially free, but we just want to ensure that there are no shows and that the event is packed for all of our amazing speakers that are coming. This is it is our biggest in-person Decoded yet. We have 4 stages, over 100 plus speakers, over 100 blockchain projects. There's also demo stations where projects will also be demoing in addition to giving talks, the one-on-one meeting rooms, podcasts. We have media partners coming. We have several journalists hosting panels, and multiple networking areas, cool swag. There's a volleyball court. And there's a bunch of big names attending and all of our favorite projects and all of your favorite parachains and wallets and infrastructure providers. So head over to search. If you just search Polkadot Network, the SEO is great. Polkadot Network, Polkadot Decoded. The SEO is great. It will be the #1 search result. Make sure to claim your ticket before they're gone. And once again, that ticket price that you pay is just a deposit that you get refunded, and the event is free. So without further ado, I would like to hand it over to Ingo from KILT.
Hi. First of all, yeah, thanks for inviting us. I think that's actually the first time we are on this call since we got our parachain on Kusama or something. So we are not invited very often, but it's great to be here again. So yeah, so I think I'm supposed to say what happened in the last couple of months, and that's quite a lot actually. So I think what we kicked it off already at the South by Southwest, where we announced a collaboration with the guys from Public Pressure. They made this fantastic drop of the music NFTs together with big industry partner, and that was quite successful, I think. And they also integrated KILT there. With our public credentials for the NFTs, which was actually the first time that this was integrated. So great announcement for us. Another big announcement came then probably at the Consensus, where we were on stage together with the guys from Amplica, also known as Frequency. This is the network which just cooperated with Mivi, which is another social network which brings in 20 million users to the platform, which is, I think, quite big for our ecosystem. So that's great news that we work together. And the way that we work together is that they are going to use the DIP, the decentralized identity provider, which we are currently building as basically the first pilot, and that allows them to use DIDs on their platform, which is fantastic because then it can also be used in the social networks that they integrate there. And I think this is a great step because we are all in Web3, and Web3 is a little bit about making the world a bit better than the Web 2. And Web 2, then we all know about Facebook and those friends, which actually accumulate a lot of power in a central place because they have a social graph and they are an identity provider. And to take this away and make a representation of the same thing in the Web 3, we actually need to do both, right? We need to do what the guys from Frequency do, bringing the social graph onto a blockchain, and what we do, bringing the decentralized identity on the blockchain. So this is actually great. Then a little bit later, I think we also, no, a day before that, we announced our collaboration with Aventus. Aventus is, you probably all know those guys. They are very much industry focused. They have fantastic projects out there. One is together with Heathrow Airport and a very big telecom provider. And we are working on a project there together, which is not yet live, but which is going to be, I think, also a big milestone in the future. And then, of course, there were those big announcements around us, one with Axel Springer, which is a publishing company, I think the biggest in Europe, which is now using the KILT basically as a decentralized login feature, which brings real-world usership to KILT, which is also pretty good for us. And the biggest one is probably where everyone talked about that is Deloitte. And Deloitte is actually doing business on KILT, and this is an interesting thing. I think where we see that Web3 and the technology that we all build together really comes over to the real world, because businesses in the real world, they need a business case. And the business case for Deloitte is actually pretty simple. They make reusable KYC credentials. You all did KYC before, and you noticed that you do it the next day again because they are not reusable. And you do them, and you do KYC or KYB actually case by case. And with the trust of Deloitte, which is then added to now added to credentials, you basically get something like a digital passport, right? You have something which is signed off by a multinational company, which is basically can be used anywhere, and it states that you have your KYC done through them, and you can do many things with them. Not only go to the next ICO, but also use that in decentralized finance, or use it at the DEX, or use it at a centralized exchange, or maybe even in the future use it when opening a bank account. And that makes a lot of sense. And it makes a lot of sense for them to do this because there's not many companies out there who have this global trust. So what they bring together is the newest piece of technology that they could find on the market, which is for identity, hopefully KILT. And they brought together this with the trust that they have and made a business model out of that. And that's actually a fascinating thing. And I hope that we see more of those cases in the near future in our ecosystem. So that was, I don't know, quite a lot. Oh, I didn't. Oh, I forgot Nova. So Nova is very important news. So actually, the biggest one is that we made, that actually Nova made something fantastic. We didn't do anything. Nova made it possible to use Web3 names, which is a feature of KILT. So when you have a DID, you can link that to a human readable name. So my Web3 name is Ingo, for example. They are unique and they're linked to one DID. And those DIDs can be linked to many different accounts inside and outside our ecosystem. So you can link them to a Polkadot account, to a Moonbeam account, to a KILT account, but also to an Ethereum account or a Binance Smart Chain or whatever you want. And this information is made available through a so-called service endpoint on the blockchain, on the KILT blockchain. And what you can do now is in Nova is you can link your accounts to many different accounts to your DID, and with that also to your name. And if you want to send me money, you can just send the money to Ingo, totally independent which type of money it is. So you can send dots, you can send Kusamas, you can send KILT coins and also Ethereum, and you don't send them to this arbitrary long string of address numbers and characters, but you can send them right to Ingo. And this is secured by blockchain and makes a lot of sense and makes life much easier, and I think is a fantastic feature on Nova. And last but not least, I have to mention the guys from Apelion. Apelion integrated the authentication from KILT protocol into their system, and they will also launch pretty soon a UI basically for creating those linkings between the accounts and the addresses and accounts to the DIDs and Web3 names, so that it is much easier to actually do these linkings, and then it will be great to use this feature on Nova. So I think I talked like 20 minutes. I'm sorry, but so that was the update from KILT.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ingo. And hey, it's always good to have 20 minutes worth of updates for the community. It's not a bad problem to have. Up next, we have Tanssi.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the invitation. Super exciting to be here. It's a pleasure to be speaking to the Polkadot community about a new project that we're building called Tanssi. So yeah, the context for this project is that me and a couple of other core Moonbeam team members have branched out of Moonbeam to build this new protocol within Polkadot. I think from our experience and having built Moonbeam, I mean, we're very big believers in Polkadot and the technology that Parity has built, but we also realize that in the process of launching a parachain, building and deploying a parachain is really not a trivial process, right? There's a lot of things that developers have to take care of in order to go to production with a fully operational parachain. Things like bootstrapping a collator set, winning a parachain auction, maintaining the chain, doing runtime upgrades. After you kind of launch the chain, you need all of this different development tooling, right? Like wallets, block explorers, indexers, RPC endpoints, oracles. So there's all of these kind of friction points associated with the path towards becoming a parachain that this is kind of what we want to solve, right? Tanssi is an app chain infrastructure protocol that will provide all of these kind of infrastructural components associated with building an app chain, so that the time to market and the effort required to launch a parachain on Polkadot is reduced drastically. And we deeply believe that by being able to provide kind of a path of least resistance for developers that want to build on Polkadot, that will ultimately lead to an accelerated adoption in the ecosystem. And I think Polkadot, Moonbeam, all of the parachains within Polkadot will benefit as a whole, because we're just going to bring more builders, more XCM cross-chain use cases. And this is really the ultimate goal that we have in mind. Another reason we're building it is because we've seen in the past couple of years how the app chain thesis has been growing in an accelerated manner, right? Obviously, Polkadot has been a pioneer in this area by building the architecture that it has. But what we're noticing is that there's a lot of new players entering the space, right? I would say Cosmos and Polkadot were kind of the pioneers, but there's a lot of new ones like Avalanche subnets, Binance sidechains, Polygon supernets. There's app-specific rollups on mainnet right now. So for us, this is validation that the app chain thesis that Polkadot originally proposed and is working on is getting adoption, right? But at the same time, I think we want to provide a much better developer experience in comparison to these competitors, so that Polkadot can continue to grow. And I think a lot of the reasons why people are building app chains, I mean, I don't really have to, it's like preaching to the choir on this call, but I think developers want like a higher degree of customization. They want to be able to offer a superior UX by vertically integrating every aspect of the chain. There's a clear path towards governance and sovereignty. But again, like there's a lot of non-trivial challenges associated with infrastructure that we want to solve. So yeah, we just announced the project recently. You know, we closed the seed round successfully, and now we're just aiming to accelerate the growth and the development of the protocol itself. We're aiming to launch a test net in approximately July, something like this. And in the meantime, you know, we're really just focusing on trying to engage with developers, bringing new teams to Polkadot, collaborating with existing teams on Polkadot as well. So we'd be happy to speak to anyone who's interested in learning more about the protocol. We're going to be launching an ecosystem like Pioneers program to help support early builders that want to use Tanssi and build on Polkadot through a lot of kind of different aspects of support like marketing, hands-on technical support, business development, ecosystem development, to try to help them build a parachain on Polkadot. And yeah, we're also going to be speaking tomorrow at the Polka Defiance event. So I'll be giving a presentation a little bit more in depth about Tanssi and its architecture and how everything will work. But yeah, I think that's more or less it from our side. You know, we're super excited to be building this out on Polkadot, and we're looking forward to collaborating with all of you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Up next, we have OriginTrail.
Yeah, hello everyone. Hi from my side. I'll be covering a few things that have transpired right now in the OriginTrail ecosystem, and together with me there is also Tomasz Lewak, my co-founder, and he will fill me in wherever that's needed. It's been an exciting few months for OriginTrail ecosystem as we have been further deploying both new products and also strengthening the capacities of the decentralized knowledge graph on OriginTrail parachain. And just to kind of recap what happened last year after we got our parachain, OriginTrail parachain. So OriginTrail is not a new project. It has been up and running since 2018 when we deployed the first network, and all up until V5. These networks, decentralized knowledge graph networks, have been running on top of other blockchains such as Ethereum, Matic, Gnosis. And we have had quite a lot of successes. The network had been growing. We went into partnership with some of the most important companies in their respective fields, standardization bodies such as British Standards Institution. We have deployed solutions in international trade, helping, for example, U.S. retailers to be sure that the products that they import actually are being produced by the companies, by the factories that are not, for example, exploiting child labor. So such relevant solutions have been built on top of OriginTrail decentralized knowledge graph, and with V6, so from V1 to V4 to V5. OriginTrail had been running exclusively on aforementioned chains, whereas with V6, which went live December last year, we inaugurally launched the network on OriginTrail parachain on Polkadot, and that was a huge step for us and for us community, as the V6 is definitely not only the most performing network as compared to the previous networks, but also as it introduces new type of an internet resource, which we call knowledge assets. So it's not only about data anymore; it's actually about knowledge assets, which, apart from ensuring that the information is true, that data has credibility. This data is also encapsulated in some form of an asset. You can think of it as an NFT for knowledge, and that NFT for knowledge can represent just about anything in the physical or in the digital world. And right now we are, I think we're stamping over 250,000 knowledge assets, which represent a real deal from the real world cases. Some of the applications are still running on older network, whereas the newest applications are being built on top of the V6 on OriginTrail parachain on Polkadot. And today here, I'm just going to talk briefly about a solution which came to be after we talked with our partners and after we were successful at also getting some funding approved by the European Commission. And the core problem that we were attacking here is the misinformation problem. Already prior to this, AI craze, I'm sure many of you have experienced catfishing. Catfishing is happening on a daily basis here in crypto world. But not only that, misinformation is kind of dominating our everyday life. And with the AI systems for, photography creation or just the text creation, the misinformation problem is getting exacerbated. So in order to counteract that problem, we have come up with a solution on top of the DKG that allows those who want to use AI systems to really be sure that when they are receiving certain, answer when asking a kind of a chat GPT-like AI system, that this answer is truly being inferred from a question, from knowledge, from information, from data that has credibility. So we coined a term, and actually we coined the name Chat DKG. DKG because the decentralized knowledge graph is a core network that we built, and this Chat DKG. The fun thing is that I would say record time we were able to do a proof of concept together with our partners for them and with them, and they're one of most prominent standardization bodies in the world. And at the same time, we managed to also get some support from the European Commission to continue building on this Chat DKG. And the Chat DKG as a framework, it's an open framework. Actually, next week we're going to be holding our first open office hours for Chat DKG. Anybody can join, and we're also going to be talking about how anybody can get involved in asset generation. So bringing in knowledge assets that we feel are going to be kind of necessary to further strengthen this Chat DKG open framework. And on the other hand, we're also inviting data scientists and those who are well versed in developing AI systems or plugins. And we're even looking into how we can provide certain bounty to those who are going to join this joint effort. So plenty of exciting things happening right now. Also parachain related, further strengthening our capabilities on that front. But I will just leave it here with the Chat DKG, and I'm sure Tomasz has some extras to offer from here on.
I think you did a great job covering it all. I just say I double down on the excitement. I think the lights went off with a lot of these AI solutions that are opening up the space for what types of opportunities are out there, but also at the same time they highlight the challenges and these trusted knowledge infrastructure components that we're working on, and are also a part of Polkadot ecosystems, are one of the biggest also opportunity for Web3 as a whole. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to kind of this the activities that are ongoing, and warmly inviting everyone to take part, and of course also follow as we will announce more and more things coming up with that are enhanced by the Chat DKG framework. So there's going to be basically a new roadmap coming up for OriginTrail in the next month, as well as some exciting developments on the side of the products that will make it kind of even more evident on how this knowledge assets and the rest of the trusted knowledge infrastructure can be used to make some cool stuff. Yeah, that was my part. Giga, if I left anything, you can wrap it up. And thanks for having us, by the way. It's always great to hang out here.
Yeah, and thanks from my side as well. So join the Chat DKG, follow the progress within the OriginTrail ecosystem, and stay tuned for all the good things coming out in June.
Wonderful, thank you. Up next, we have Composable Finance.
Great. Yeah, my name is Joe DiTomaso. I help run strategy over here at Composable. For those that don't know us, what we're working on here is an infrastructure platform for both bridging and messaging within the Tatsama ecosystem. So most recently from our side, we just opened up a connection between Polkadot and Kusama itself. So for the first time, you can have Dot within Kusama and Kusama within Polkadot, kind of opening up the stage here for these two ecosystems to interact. I think kind of to date, we've seen Kusama kind of blossom into its own sort of, I guess, larger network from the test network it's been kind of proposed as. So good to see things kind of interacting there. Primarily right now within our parachain on Kusama called Picasso, we have our Pablo DEX kind of allowing swaps between these assets, or just kind of laying the building blocks for later on our messaging protocol, which would sit on top of this transfer network. So this would be things like being able to transfer and swap in the same transaction, maybe doing something like transfer between Polkadot and Kusama, entering a lending network and instantly depositing on top of the transfer protocol. And I think kind of our mission going forward here is to extend Polkadot and Kusama kind of into the larger crypto ecosystem. So this is kind of connecting with external networks, things like Cosmos or Ethereum, kind of allowing these assets a way to draw themselves into the Tatsama ecosystem itself, and kind of just broaden the liquidity and I guess potential feature set that we see right now within Polkadot and Kusama today. So that's kind of just a little bit of a background on where we are right now and moving forward on that front. Most recently, I think for us, like to kind of keep up with where we're at and what we're doing, we've been going through sort of a AMA, I guess, AMA kind of network amongst Tatsama teams. So we've been hosting weekly AMAs against other parachains within the network, just to get a little bit more perspective on how we can kind of interact with these, what the cross-chain capabilities are across these networks, and how things are kind of looking on that front.
And thank you, Composable, for joining us today. Up next, we have Nova Wallet.
Yeah, thank you. Hey everyone, Anton from Nova is here. I hope everyone is doing okay. So, couple of things from our side. I think one of the recent achievements we did is the wallet connectivity integration. And just to provide everyone the background why we decided to jump in right now on this is due to the context of Wallet Connect shifting from version 1 to version 2, which is chain agnostic, which is now can support all of the substrate networks, including Polkadot and all of the parachains. So we have decided to bring this integration to the ecosystem to basically unleash this possibility for the users to use their mobile wallets and connect to the desktop dApps so that they can utilize the secure storage on the mobile devices with apps like Nova and utilize the desktop interfaces in the dApps conveniently. So this is pretty much a great achievement. We are working together with like tons of the teams in the ecosystem, as well as the Wallet Connect and the party. So the idea would be here to increase the adoption of the Wallet Connect because it's one of the most like time trusted and secure protocol for connecting the mobile apps with the desktop dApps. So this is something what went live last week, and feel free to check this integration. So far, I believe in the Polkadot ecosystem, you can check the integration on the Moonbeam dApp. And if you've been using the Wallet Connect with other ecosystem, you can try to use it in Nova as well, because we now support not only substrate networks, but also EVM ones. So that one was one of the recent releases that we provided to the community. And what we are working right now is like a huge update for the staking in the ecosystem. Many of you know that, for example, on Polkadot, we have these two options to stake. One being the nomination pool participant, which allows you to stake as little as 1 DOT, right? But at the same time, you kind of sacrifice of several opportunities, like you cannot participate in the governance, you have to claim the rewards, and at the same and all of this, right? And you can also stake as an nominator, but you have to have at least, let's say, 400 dots right now in order to receive the rewards as an nominator. So all in all, this is kind of like a knowledge bearer for the newbies, right? So they need to study the different types of the staking. They need to understand how staking works as soon as they started, and they need to understand what suits them best. So what we're trying to do in a node, we try to combine them both. This is the first step. So we will route it based on the amount that user have. So let's say they have 1,000 dots, then it's no brainer for them to stake as a nominator. If they have less than 400, we will roll them to the nomination pool automatically. So they will not need to basically study anything from here, and they can just be routed automatically. And the second one, we want to wrap it in a super easy interface to achieve this like one-click staking. So they just don't need to basically select anything. They just press the token they want to stake and then press the big button to start staking after entering the amount. So that would be the idea how we want to combine these two options. Those options exist not only on the Polkadot now, but also on the other networks in the ecosystem, which is great. And the next step would be here is that we notice that multiple users are staking more than one assets, but existing user interfaces usually provide you the details about only one of them. So you need to consistently switch between, like, let's say, Polkadot and Kusama to check your rewards, to manage the staking. And what we want to do, we want to bring to the mobile interfaces the multi-staking dashboard. So you would be able to see on one screen all of your staking assets, all of your rewards. So you can open just conveniently one screen and you would be able to see all of this information. So this is something what we're working on right now for the mobile applications. And we have upcoming desktop enterprise app, which should be released by the end of May. So that would be our first attempt to release the fully functional desktop application, which would be focused on such features like the multi-sigs, the hardware wallets, the multi-shard staking, the light clients. So all of the features that would benefit first the enterprise, and the second, as we iterate, we would achieve the state of this application to be able to be used by basically anyone. So anyone could benefit by using this desktop application, because it would be like a feature-rich, powerful, secure, and accessible for everyone. So I think that would be it from my side. Let me know if you have any questions in our community channels. And yeah, it was great to provide the update to you guys.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anton. Up next, we have Oak Network.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having us. I'm Christian, and I'm from the Parachain Oak Network. Firstly, I just want to say thanks. It's great to be here, and it's great to see so many great projects. It's especially really nice to hear a bit about Tanssi Network from Francisco. But our team at Oak Network is really excited to tell everyone about our liquidity pool rewards auto compounding tool that we have made in collaboration with YieldBane Mangata. The dashboard tool allows liquidity pool token holders to auto compound their rewards on the Mangata decentralized exchange and use Oak's remote execution. Our team is especially excited to be highlighting the benefits of cross-parachain applications. With the tool, and token holders of a parachain like Bifrost or Imbu, or any new parachain tokens that end up going to the Mangata parachain, they can use the Turing parachain to schedule auto-compounding tasks through XCM to then be executed on the Mangata chain, all completely non-custodially and trust-free. We really think as a team this is highlighting some of the benefits of cross-parachain kind of functionality. We're really excited to be having like multiple parachains using cross-chain functionality that's being handled on the Turing chain. We're also really looking forward to bringing this type of functionality to more DEXs and liquidity farms across Kusama and Polkadot. And we have a bunch of resources available on our site, on our socials for people to check out if you want to learn more. I know there's not a lot of time going around. There's a lot of great projects that need to speak after me. So I was just going to keep it short, and make sure you check out our community resources if you want to learn more about how our auto compounding tool works.
Awesome. Thank you. Up next, we have Peaq Network.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here. Yeah, a quick summary on Peaq. So Peaq is a layer 1 blockchain network for DePIN. It's a newly emerging space and stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks. So you can really think about anything that's physical infrastructure, from charging stations to 5G networks or camera sensors, that can be crowdsourced, and then communities can build physical infrastructure and earn from that. And the bigger vision behind that is to enable like an open economy of things, where really infrastructure such as 5G is not owned and controlled by big telco companies, but actually communities can power those networks, and therefore also the value these networks make is distributed further. And yeah, like the news I want to talk about today is that Natix Network joins the Peaq ecosystem, and Natix Network is building the Internet of Cameras. So it's a company that developed AI technology to record all kinds of events, for example, on the street, to create real world mapping without compromising on user data. And they just launched the mobile application, so everyone can download the app and start generating data for this camera network. So it's the fastest growing DePIN on the space currently. They have over 10,000 users just after a couple of weeks launching, and basically crowdsource real world maps and thereby compete with the likes of Google and so on. Yeah, so we're really happy to have Natix on board here, and it's also a great validation that what we're building and the use case specific network which Substrate and Polkadot are enabling in the first place is really needed and wanted by those DePIN projects. Yeah, maybe to add on another news is that we recently started working with the Fraunhofer Institute, which is Europe's largest research institute on digital twins for EV batteries. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it short here and sign off. Thanks a lot for having us.
Thank you. And up next, we have SubSocial.
Hey everyone, Young Beef here from SubSocial. I'm the content lead. I want to say thanks for the invitation, of course. So a real quick summary about SubSocial. We are building infrastructure to support the social networks of the future. So we're focused on social primitives, things like posts, comments, profiles, etc., and creating as many developer tools as possible to support developers building social networks on top of SubSocial. But unlike Web 2 social networks, all of the networks built on top of SubSocial will all share the same content base and user base that lives on SubSocial. So there's no walled gardens. Users have ultimate freedom with what application they want to use. They can change applications at will. They can take their data, they can take their connections, their followers with them. Any application can access content on the network. So a lot of freedom possible there. Our big news is we recently released our off-chain signer technology. I believe a tweet about this will be pinned under the space, so you can go look at our blog post. So there's a couple diagrams that make it easier to understand. But basically what this allows us to do is give users the option to have UX, the user experience, similar to Web 2, what we're used to with Twitter and Facebook. Previously, you needed a wallet. If you wanted to use SubSocial, you had to get tokens, and you'd have to constantly sign transaction confirmations in your wallet. These are all really big barriers to adoption and onboarding new users. I frequently talk about, is this simple enough that my grandma can use it? Not to say that our goal is necessarily to get my grandma on SubSocial, but if my grandma can figure out how to use it, anyone in the world that has a phone or a computer is able to do it. And now that is true. So if you want, you can start using Polkaverse, which is our reference implementation application. You can start using that with just an email and password, just like you would with Facebook or Twitter. But the difference is that you can still interact on an open, transparent social graph with the people that still want to use a wallet and maintain total control over all of their data. So essentially, we've gotten rid of all of the onboarding barriers. Now we're ready to start onboarding 1 billion users. So as I mentioned, it's currently implemented on Polkaverse. You can also see it on Grill Chat, which is an application we released about a month and a half ago that allows you to chat anonymously on chain You don't even need to create an account. You just send your first message and an account automatically gets created for you. So it's even easier to onboard there than Web2 social networks. We're currently working with a number of teams in the ecosystem on how we can help them add on-chain chat and social functionality directly into their applications. You can see an example of this on SubID, where we already have Grill Chat essentially embedded right into the page with a little pop-up window that allows you to talk about various tokens on SubID. Another example of this would be you go on the Singular Marketplace and you open up a specific NFT. You can talk about that NFT, or you could go on Zeitgeist and talk about a specific prediction market, etc. We're also working to unify Polkadot governance discussions. Right now, we have Subsquare and Polkassembly, and they're kind of separate. So the discussions are fragmented, information is siloed, and considering governance for an open platform like Polkadot, it just doesn't make sense to have Web2 governance discussions that are fragmented like that. So we're working to bring it all on chain where it's totally open and accessible to anyone, so we can have as many different governance UIs as we want, and everyone can access all of that data. All of the discussions will be in one place together, so there's no fragmentation. So that's what we have been working on recently and we'll be working on in the near future. Thanks again for having me.
Thank you for joining. And last but certainly not least, we have Talisman Wallet.
Thank you for having me. This is Agile, the co-founder of Talisman. So I want to talk to the community about two things today. First of all, our Polkadot Vault integration, and secondly, about a conference, an online conference running tomorrow called Polkadot Finance that everyone should check out. So first of all, if you haven't heard of Talisman before, we are the easiest way to get started with Polkadot on your desktop computer. We're a browser extension wallet that makes it easy for you to see all of your assets in one place, interact with applications across Polkadot's ecosystem of parachains, or the Paraverse as we like to call it. And so if you want to learn more about Talisman, you can visit talisman.xyz. So personally, I like to use Talisman with my Ledger device, but if you're a new user or even an existing Ledger user who's suddenly caught Ledger anxiety, I have some really cool news. So we've just integrated Polkadot Vault. This is an application formerly known as Parity Signer, which allows you to turn an old mobile phone or anything running Android or iOS, so perhaps like an iPod Touch, into an offline cold wallet. This gives you very similar security benefits to what a Ledger device offers you to do, where you can keep your keys on a separate device that is never connected to the internet, while still being able to sign and verify transactions and interact with applications. In fact, Polkadot Vault is actually more flexible than Ledger in many ways, because with Polkadot Vault, we can use any app in the Polkadot Paraverse, whereas with a Ledger device, we're constrained specifically to chains which have a fit-for-purpose Ledger app. So with Talisman and with Polkadot Vault, I can create a cold wallet in my Polkadot Vault on my spare smartphone. I can link my accounts to Talisman and see those balances connected to apps. I can use Talisman to interact with applications. And when it comes to signing a transaction, through the use of QR codes, I can pass transaction data between my browser, which is connected to the internet, and my Polkadot Vault, which is not connected to the internet. And I can sign the transaction. It's really simple, really secure, and super powerful. And so if you're interested in ways that you can use Polkadot securely and easily, and if you want to use any of the applications from the teams that you've heard about today, you can go to talisman.xyz and get Talisman, and you can also download Polkadot Vault at signer.parity.io or on the App Store. And I think shout out to Nova, who I think are also integrated with Polkadot Vault. So secondly, when it comes to the other item, Polkadot Finance, so this is an online conference that's running tomorrow. So we've teamed up with the Equilibrium team this year to help out with Polkadot Finance. Polkadot is an annual Polkadot DeFi focused online conference that Equilibrium has run the last 2 years. And this year, Talisman has contributed some of the programming and the talks. And I think I'm just going to rattle off a couple of them and then post a tweet because I think you guys will be really excited to hear. So first of all, we have Rob Habermeyer, the co-founder of Polkadot, joining us to discuss how the app chain thesis has evolved since its conception. His panel's going to be called Reforming the App Chain Thesis. We have a really interesting panel about staking on Polkadot called Can Polkadot Inflate into Oblivion? And other interesting questions around staking. The Interlay team is going to be making an appearance to talk about how Bitcoin DeFi can potentially accelerate de-dollarization in the global economy. And then finally, another talk that I'm really excited for is CoinGuru, a new project in Polkadot, is going to talk about how they're enabling the first real one-click cross-chain DEX aggregation in Polkadot. So I hope that's just enough to kind of wet your whistle and get you interested. I've just replied to the Twitter space on the Talisman account, linking the URL, which is polkadefiance.com. So yeah, it's running tomorrow at I think 4 p.m. CET, so around this time. I hope to see you guys there.